a spirit person. Consequently, the woman of the prophecy could not be a human woman, such as Mary the mother of Jesus. The apostle sheds light on the matter at Galatians 4:21-31. See seed. In this passage the apostle speaks of Abraham's free wife and of his concubine Hagar, and says that Hagar corresponds to the literal city of Jerusalem under the law covenant, her children being the citizens of the Jewish nation. Abraham's wife Sarah, Paul says, corresponds to the Jerusalem above, who is the spiritual mother of Paul and his spirit-begotten associates. This heavenly mother would be also the mother of Christ, who is the oldest among his spiritual brothers, all of whom spring from God as their father. Heb 2:11-12. See free woman. It would follow logically and in harmony with the scriptures that the woman of Genesis 3:15 would be a spiritual woman, and corresponding to the fact that the bride, or wife, of Christ is not an individual woman, but a composite one, made of many spiritual members. 21:9, the woman who brings forth God's spirit-begotten sons, God's wife, prophetically foretold in the words of Isaiah and Jeremiah as cited in the foregoing, would be made up of many spiritual persons. It would be a composite body of persons, an organization, a heavenly one. This woman is described in John's vision, in Revelation chapter 12. She is shown as bringing forth a son, a ruler who is to shepherd all the nations with an iron rod. Compare PS2. 6-9. 110. 1:2. This vision was given to John long after Jesus' human birth and also after his anointing as God's Messiah. Since it obviously has to do with the same person, it must have reference, not to Jesus' human birth, but to some other event, namely, his o textoi acute miritra longo womb. 1199 women will actually grab hold of one man in that day, saying, "We shall eat our own bread and wear our own mantles. Only may we be called by your name to take away our reproach." Issa 4:1 in the preceding two verses. Issa 3:25-26, God had pointed out that Israel's men would fall by war. So he was telling Israel of the inroads such conditions would make on the manpower of the nation, creating such a shortage that several women would attach themselves to one man. They would be glad to take his name and have some male attentions, even if they had to share him with other women. They would accept polygamy or concubinage to have some little part in a man's life. Thereby some of the reproach of widowhood or of the unmarried state, and childlessness, would be removed. In a prophecy comforting Israel, Jehovah said, "How long will you turn this way and that, O unfaithful daughter? For Jehovah has created a new thing in the earth. A mere female will press around an able-bodied man. The woman woos the man." Atcha 31:22. Up until then Israel, with whom God was in the relationship of marriage by reason of the law covenant, was turning this way and that in unfaithfulness. Now Jehovah invites the Virgin of Israel to set up road marks and signposts to guide her back and to fix her heart upon the highway that leads back. 31:21. Jehovah will put his spirit in her so that she will be most eager to come back. Thus, as a wife would press around her husband in order to get back into good relations with him, so Israel would press around Jehovah God in order to get back into good relations with him as her husband. The desire of women. Of the king of the north, Daniel's prophecy says, "To the God of his fathers he will give no consideration. And to the desire of women and to every other god he will give no consideration, but over everyone he will magnify himself. But to the God of fortresses, in his position he will give glory." Da 11:37-38. Women here may represent the weaker nations who become handmaids of the king of the north, as weaker vessels. They have their gods that they desire and worship, but the king of the north disregards them and pays homage to a god of militarism. The symbolic locusts. In the vision of the symbolic locusts at Revelation 9:1-11, these locusts are depicted as having hair as women's hair. In harmony with the scriptural principle that the woman's long hair is a sign of her subjection to her husbandly head, the hair of these symbolic locusts must represent the subjection of those whom they symbolize to the one who is shown in the prophecy to be head and king over them. See Abaddon. 144,000 not defiled with women. In Revelation 14:1-4, there were 144,000 described as standing with the Lamb on Mount Zion are said to have been bought from the earth. These are the ones that did not defile themselves with women. In fact, they are virgins. These are shown as having a more intimate relationship with the Lamb than any others do, being the only ones to master the new song. 14. 1-4 This would indicate that they make up the bride of the Lamb. 21. 9 They are spiritual persons, as revealed by the fact that they stand on the heavenly Mount Zion with the Lamb. Therefore they're not defiling themselves with women, and their being virgins would not mean that none of these 144,000 persons had ever been married, for the scriptures do not forbid persons on earth who are to be joint heirs with Christ to marry. 1-3. 2. 4. 1, 3 Neither would it imply that all the 144,000 were men, for there is neither male nor female as far as the spiritual relationship of Christ's joint heirs is concerned. 3. 28 The women therefore must be symbolic women, doubtless religious organizations such as Babylon the Great and her daughters, false religious organizations, the joining of and participation in which would prevent one from being spotless.